Both sides. Woo! How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Stewie!
University of Montevallo, 24-96. National champions, Wallace State, Briar and Clinton. What's up, everybody? Welcome into this latest episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Curry. Got another new episode coming your way. MLF regional event happened at Lake of the Pines just last weekend. Joining us on the phone here now are Marlee, Churchman, and Ty Gentry from LSU-Shreveport. They won that event with 19 pounds and 9 ounces. Ty, let's start with you, and then we'll talk to Marlee after your response here. Man, initial emotions. Coach called me, wanted to get you guys on the podcast. He reached out. We've got y'all going. The publicity that's around this, the momentum that comes with the big major national victory. How awesome has it been the last couple of days as y'all have made this landmark victory for yourselves and your school?
Man, I mean, it has been a roller coaster of a ride. I mean, from the time I weighed in, just starting with my dad calling me then, and friends and family, as soon as they found out we were leading the tournament, it has been a ongoing process of nothing but phone calls from not only friends and family, but other companies too. Just the amount of publicity you get is just insane.
Marlee, yourself, I'm looking at it right here. I'm gonna read it off so I don't misquote anything. I'm looking at the MLF social media page, and it says that with the win there last week, you became the first female event winner in MLF college fishing history. Pretty cool landmark there. So that victory combined with the history that you made, how awesome has it been for you as well in this journey as a team that y'all won that major event?
Yeah, so it's been, just like Ty said, the phone calls from family and friends, it's been crazy, and it's just showing other people, I mean, girls can do it too just as well as guys, and it's my first ever win in, my fishing career, so I'm still speechless to this day. But it's just been crazy. It's a good way to get LSU-Shreveport out there since we're a small school. But it's been awesome.
I'm going to ask you one more question directly about the landmark victory there, and then we'll talk about how y'all caught your fish. Myself, I was in school, this May I'll have graduated 10 years ago, so about 12 or 13 years ago, we were fishing at Lake Lavon. It was a big bass bash. ACA ran event at the time, and there was a female angler from Arkansas Tech. Her name was Reagan, and I remember vividly on the second day, she won, I'm trying to remember, I might have even won the first session on that day. However it transpired the rest of the day, she caught 3 really big fish. I think she ended up winning the overall event, maybe even had another big fish in the top 5 or 10 of the tournament. All 3 might have even been in the top 10 of the overall standings for the tournament. But you look back at history and these defining moments and what it means for a segment of the sport and for female anglers in particular. We hear from the college coaches that there's a lot more female participation at the high school level, and we're seeing it now in our registrations for the college events and the success that you just had. How cool is it to be a part of that movement that, we could look back 5, 10, 15 years and the growth is even exponentially greater because of what yourself and others have achieved over the last recent history?
Yeah, sir, it's amazing. I know I have some high school anglers that are girls that are looking at college fishing, and I'm pushing them to try their best to get up there, post on social media. And I have some inspirations too that are, older or that I've looked up to. But I mean, it's just girls can do it too. It's not just guys. You just have to put yourself out there and grind just as hard.
All right, Ty, let's talk about the fishing now. They're at Lake of the Pines. Got a little bit of different stuff to fish. A few boat docks, I believe. I've never been out there, but I'm familiar with that part of the state of Texas. Some boat docks, maybe some hydrilla and vegetation in different places, setting up kind of in a good fall pattern. I believe that maybe the day y'all were out there was when the cold front blew in. I know that for a lot of people up north, you're going to think we're kind of weak, but the temperatures were in like the 80s leading up to that, and the day of the tournament or right around the end of last week, I know that it got super cold. I had to sit out at a football game Saturday, and I was hurting because my body was almost frozen. But it was like around 50 degrees and windy, and it just didn't feel good to be outside, especially for Texas this time of year. Talk about what the weather did and how y'all combated that to catch over 19 pounds and get the win.
Well, like you said, I've actually practiced the first day by myself. Marlee had class, and we're pretty good around working around each other's schedules. And the first day I practiced in shorts. Water temps was in the 70s. I mean, it almost felt like springtime fishing, and that's kind of how it's funny because I almost attacked it kind of like as if I was fishing pines in the spring. I actually grew up probably an hour and a half from pines, so I'm pretty familiar with how to run the lake and how everything works. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Practice was rough. We had guys on our team and other guys that we know from surrounding schools that were catching 7-8 pound fish every day. And the first day I practiced, I didn't get those bites. And I told Marlee going into it, I said, we're going to have to grind to get, to be able to qualify, because, really, that's all we were looking to do was to make the national championship. And the first day of practice, I kind of stayed north. I knew of a shell bed that had a creek swing in it with a little bit of submerged grass. So it was just kind of one of them textbook places. And I fished it during practice and lost a 6-pounder. And I knew we could at least catch 5 there. So second day of practice, me and Marlee fished together. We tried to figure out the big bite and never could really piece it together. Well, tournament day rolls around. We pulled up to our first spot, which was on the south end of the lake, and actually watched the cold front come through. It was probably 65, 60 degrees, and it just gradually got colder, and the rain came, and it just was lousy fishing. So we scrapped our idea of trying to fish our big fish point and decided, we need to go catch 5. And it just so happened the fish that were in the river channel pulled up to that shell bed, and that's how we were able to catch them.
Marlee, I want to ask you this question. This is something that always baffles me this time of year, and it happens a lot in the fall, maybe even a little bit in the spring, but kind of reverse of what I'm about to explain. It's really warm, especially across the south down here. So, as y'all mentioned, you had water temperatures in the 70s to start practice. You wake up the morning of the tournament and you see that it's going to be, in the 40s. It's going to be cold, right? For down here, that's almost kind of what it feels like in the winter a lot of times. To shift your mentality to it feels like winter outside, but these fish just yesterday were up chasing bait in almost no water at all. You could probably even still catch them on top water because water temps hadn't been affected that much yet. What's the mental strategy, game plan in a situation where the weather outside feels like one season, but what's happening under the water is 2 seasons different than what you're feeling outside, if that makes any sense?
Yes, sir. So I'm from Louisiana, and all we have down here is like 6-foot lakes. Like, there's nothing deep around here. So all year round, I'm fishing shallow. So that's kind of like my confidence. So I knew that even if we did go up north and into that shallow mess, I knew we could figure it out. And then we watched the shad go up and down that ditch that we were fishing, and they would just hit the top. They were just like, the bait was just busting, and it was all around where we were. The fish were just traveling up and down that ditch, and we were having to make long casts with how shallow we were. And the longer the cast, it seemed like the more effective. But it was just more of a confidence for me since we were in shallow. But it was pretty different. I will say that, though. I've never fished pines like Ty said. I live like an hour from it, and I've camped there. I've just never fished it. So it was different, but it was very fun.
Good winning weight for sure. Anytime you can get close to 20 pounds, it's a good day of fishing out there. Marlee, Churchman, and Ty Gentry join us here on the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast, representing LSU-Shreveport. Got the win at the MLF Regional at Lake of the Pines we've been talking about. Let's talk baits real quick before we shift focus here in a minute to some other questions. Ty, you've mentioned Shell Bez. She mentioned some shad busting shallow. Y'all having to make long casts. What baits were y'all throwing to get these winning bites?
Well, during practice, I actually caught some fish up on the north end. Like I said earlier, I fished the first day by myself, and even all throughout practice, it was pretty much just a VMC belly blade or a flashy swimmer with a 3.5-inch swim bait. Something we can make a long cast with, but you didn't really have to worry about it getting hung up in the grass. And it's a really good bait for super shallow fishing because you can kind of keep it up in the water column a little bit. Caught some fish on buzz bait, and we also had some fish on a spook. Just because, I've heard stories, and it's kind of hard to believe because the water temps in the 70s, but it's freezing cold above the water. And I've always heard the guys that I look up to in fishing, don't be scared to throw top water. And we threw a top water the first day of the tournament and had some good bites. Never landed them. They would have been really key to our bag. But I mean, that was pretty much it. But I think 99% of our fish come on a flashy swimmer.
Marlee, let's talk a little bit more about that, catching topwater fish in the fall. That's a lot of fun. Different techniques, whether it's the swim bait type bait he's talking about or things like that. Anything relating to shad right now, it's kind of the key. What was your game plan going to the tournament? Did y'all end up catching the fish on what you thought was going to work? Or I know that you mentioned you hadn't fished there before, so did you even have any preconceived notions and just kind of flew by the seat of your pants and y'all stumbled into what ended up being the winning pattern that way?
I kind of knew. Ty and I kind of had a game plan, so we had an early boat number. Our boat number was 9. And like he said, we went to our deep point first that we caught a 4 off of in practice. And we wanted to roll up to that first to try to get a big bite before other people would try to hit it, because we knew everybody and their mom was going to go up north at the beginning of the day. At the beginning of it was crazy up there during practice. Anywhere you would go and up north, you would see at least 5 boats 100 yards from you. And so we wanted to try to hit our deep point first and give people time, I guess, to fish up north. If they're not doing anything, then they'll come back down, so there's less people up there when we do go up there. And after about 45 minutes of fishing that point, we didn't have any bites. We moved to our next point for a minute, and that didn't work out. So we just said, let's just go up north. And we up to our main spot. And within 30 minutes, we had 2 fish for about over 9 pounds in the boat. And we were like, I think we're going to stay here for the majority. And then I think by 10 or 10:30, we had 5 fish, and we started culling. I think we culled 2 or 3 times. And then we kind of went a little bit more north or to just try to see our other spot, and we didn't really have any luck there. And about 1 o'clock, the storm started to roll in with the cold front, and it was coming from the north, so we didn't want to get trapped in there. So, of course, we went back down to that point. And we had a couple bites there, but they didn't help. They were just small keepers. And then, but we just fished a 100-yard stretch the whole day, and it produced.
That's wild. You get on fisheries like that sometimes earlier this season for us, or actually the end of last season, this spring, though, of 22. You heard the same thing happening at Barnett Reservoir when we were there, and you just, a lot of people aren't having success, and the people that found the right spots, it's lights out for about 100 yards, like you said, one way or the other, and that can be the difference in winning or losing a tournament for sure. Ty, there at LSU-Shreveport, Coach Charles, he's put in a lot of work. The program been around a while, and the sense that we know it now, just a couple of years, though, as he's kind of been working to get guys in and girls, as we're talking to Marlee here now, who's done well for the team. And he's building it up. He's getting some traction. He's getting out recruiting anglers, got people doing well at major national professional events. I believe Levi had a good week a week or two ago over at Gunnersville on a professional event. And so talk a little bit about what it's like being a part of the team, the energy around the program. It's really building, it's growing, and y'all are at the forefront of that.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Charles, he has got to be the hardest working coach that I think, honestly, in college fishing, because he tries so hard to get a good program together, and the camaraderie of the whole team is just second to none. Because I feel, I've got lifelong best friends that are on that team that I will be friends with forever. Like he said, we've got Levi Thibodeau. He's coming from South Louisiana. He won the co-angler side of the tournament at the Coastal Series on Sam Rayburn. We also got guys like Brother Martin. He had several offers from Bethel University and other offers too, and he actually transferred in. But still, just the amount of effort Charles puts into the program is just second to none. And I think it's one of the deals where we kind of joke with him a little bit. His wife would much rather have him at the house, but Charles wants to be with the team, and that's one of the reasons why I think we're such a good team, because we're pretty diverse as anglers, and we always got somebody in the top, and we're always willing to share information and help each other out. And I think that's kind of what compelled us to get second in Southern Conference Team of the Year for MLS.
Been working your way up as it pertains to the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia here with the ACA for the last couple of years. Spent some time inside the top 25 last season for a good while, working to get back there now. We'll have the standings updated here soon with this win reflected in there and those points. So we'll see where it shakes out. But at the moment, you guys are working your way up, trying to make a name on the national scene. Next opportunity to do that, y'all have got a local event there, a school run. Other event is denoted on our calendar for the School of the Year program. It's going to be a Texas college bass event. It's going to be at Caddo Lake. That's another opportunity for the team to go out, get some points, get some valuable experience, and make a name for yourselves out on the major trail. Marlee, talk a little bit about that event, what you're looking forward to, and the importance of it moving forward as we wrap up the fall semester and get ready to go to the spring.
So Caddo Lake, like I said, I'm from Shreveport, and Caddo's just about 30 minutes from my house. Me and my dad, whenever we get any chance we go out to Caddo. It's been low. It's been really low the past about 6 months, so it's been kind of risky running it right now. So I pray for everybody that's running that lake this week, because I don't want any lower units or anything missing, just since it's so low and it's so stumpy. But this is my favorite time of year to fish Caddo. Knock on wood, it's been decent to me this time of year. The bait fish and I think this time of year is the best time to fish Caddo. I think our team will do pretty solid, because we have quite a few teammates that are from Shreveport, so we know the lake pretty well. I think it'll be a good chance for us to get some points so that we can hopefully move up in the rankings.
We'll be looking out for you guys. It's Marlee Churchman and Ty Gentry, winners of the MLF event at Lake of the Pines, getting ready to compete at Caddo Lake and earn some more valuable School of the Year points this upcoming weekend. Y'all, thanks for taking the time to join us here on the phone today. Best of luck rest of the season. And if you have another major victory, we'll get you on again on down the road when that takes place.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
To fishermen and other liars, the time you spent on the docks, the banks, the boats. the lines you cast, and the hooks you set. These moments you share with the people you love, the fish you never forget, and the tales that get taller with every retelling. Make memories that'll last a lifetime with Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.